Hey, how are you?
I'm good, Tom. How about you?
Good.
My mouthful, sorry.
Wanted to ask about Gronowski and his recovery. Where is he at? Is he ahead of schedule? And any other guys that might be missing out on spring ball due to out-of-season surgery?
Yeah, he's the biggest one probably right now. Brian Allen had surgery too, which is going to keep him out. I'm not gonna. It's not no surgery's a routine, but it was a predictable surgery that a lot of players have had. So Brian will be with us full speed in June when that program starts. Mark, I don't think he'll be thrown lightly here, probably in a couple of weeks, but not with the team. And the biggest thing right now is just make sure nobody runs into him, he doesn't fall down. So just being cautious with that with him. But the recovery's going great. Everything's right on schedule, and he's probably a little bit ahead, that type of deal. But we'll play it conservatively. In a perfect world, you want everybody out there practicing. In his case, he's played a lot of football, and there's a lot of evidence that he knows how to play. He's smarter than the whole coaching staff combined. Dean's list guy in mechanical engineering, so that part's I think going to come really quickly for him. And Tim spent a lot of time. Tim didn't go on the road this year, so he spent a lot of time with the quarterbacks individually and collectively. More so individually during the winter months, and it's, I think he's caught on. For new players, it's like learning a new system or a new language. That's the biggest difference. No different than when players jump in the NFL. So they just got to learn the language, all that type of thing. But no, it's all going good, all going well.
Hey, Kirk, Elliot Clough, Hawkeye Beacon. Regarding Mark, what are your initial impressions of him so far? You've only been around him for, a couple months now? So, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, first of all, we got to see him on film, and that speaks for itself. Whether it was, how he played, but more importantly, I think, quarterback's all about, it's a leadership position. There's no avoiding that, and, he clearly did that. He delivered his team to victory a lot. That's really impressive. Under-recruited guy. We had one of those about 25 years ago, or 35 years ago. I'm dating myself. Or is it 45, whatever? 1981, that's 40 plus, right? But anyway, another recruited guy from Chicago did pretty well here. And that's one thing about that position. It's a really tough position to get right. I'll deviate for 1 second. I had some free time last week and just going through some stuff. I tend to collect stuff. There was an article about a pretty prominent school in the South that had, it was like one of the first big bonus baby contracts, if you will, NIL. And I looked at the guy's name, and I don't know who he was, with all due respect. So anyway, I think he's on his third school now. It didn't work out wherever he had gone, and despite the money they paid and all that other stuff. But my point is, that's a position that's, you never know. And you hear Bill Polian talk about it all the time. It's about 1 out of 2 that they get right, whether the guy's the first guy, second guy in the draft. There's really no way, but in this case, Mark's a proven player. He's done it on film. Hasn't done it at the Big Ten level necessarily, but good players are good players in my mind. And I think I'm more impressed with just kind of person he is and just his demeanor. He's I would call him kind of fairly quiet, but he's got a humbleness to him and a confidence to him that's very genuine, I think. And I think that whole room is really good right now. Hank's been a great addition. Can't say enough about Brendan Sullivan going back to June when he showed up last year. His work ethic, just his personality, his leadership traits, and so it's a really good group of guys right now. They're really competing well with each other.
John Steffi Gazette, with Omar Young, with his hiring, kind of what stood out to you in particular about his background that you liked? And I realize it's only been about a week and a half or so, but kind of what stood out to you about him so far now that he's here?
Yeah, I'm not saying I like doing coaching searches because, perfect world, everybody stays here, but the world's not perfect, and Liddell's a great example. He had an opportunity he's really excited about, and I get that, and I'm fully supportive. I think that's every coach's decision to make a decision on what's best for him, and that one made perfect sense. So, it was the fun part of it is, we all work collectively on it. I say we, the offensive staff primarily in this case. And, you start doing research, and, we started out pretty much got it down to about a list of 4 or 5 that we were serious about, and then cut that back by a couple. But, felt really comfortable. There were probably 3 guys that we could have, I think, hired very easily, and it would have worked out really well. But Omar just kind of rose, and the last step of the process was bringing guys to campus and spend the time with them in person. We did Zoom calls. You do a lot of calls and research and try to check sources, all that. But the biggest thing to me is getting quality people that we can envision, just like players. You can envision them really functioning well in our system. And, whether it's the outside, like living in Iowa, but also being part of the program. And then adding to it, and Omar, I think so, with his experience in the places he's been, some of the systems he's been involved in, I think the transition is going to be easy for him. And also, he'll add to the equation. And then he's got really good personal skills, I think. So he's walking into a really good room. Liddell did a great job of bringing players in that really, I think, have great futures in front of them. And it's an easy group to work with. Those guys like football and they like working. So I just think it's a good mesh.
Tyler Cashman with the Des Moines Register. You mentioned Warren Ruggiero. Just, I guess, how do you what's his role going to look like on the staff, and what has kind of just stood out from working with him so far?
Yeah, that, talked about changing times and all that. We've grown externally. I never envisioned us having a social media department. Believe me, if you told me that 25 years ago or 27 years ago, what are you talking about? So, but now we've got, several people doing that. So we've grown in that regard because that's just reflective of the time. Certainly our recruiting staff has grown. We had one person 27 years ago now. We've got a bunch of guys that help us out in that regard. But where I'm going on the whole thing, football-wise, one thing I've kind of been resistant to, and I just prefer smaller instead of larger when it comes to staff. I don't think we need. The game hasn't changed. It's still 11 guys and 11 guys, and then 11 guys on every phase of special teams. But one thing I think we decided we could probably create some value since we practice on Mondays, which is unusual. We go Monday mornings. Sundays are really tough, and they have been since 2015 when we switched it. So basically, the whole idea is, he's going to be doing some advanced work, and it's great. He's been here now probably 5, 6, 7 weeks. So he's really learning what we're doing, what we do, and then obviously he's got a lot of good ideas too, which is really nice. He's got a wealth and depth of experience. But I think the way I envision it is, when we finish up on yesterday's game on Sundays, Warren will already be, he'll have a jump start on whoever it is we're going into, whatever preparation, and just have some ideas and some presentation stuff for Tim to help make his process a little quicker, and same thing for the whole offensive staff. So, we felt like it was a way to maybe improve, our preparation process, and I think he's been great. He's a football guy all the way.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. Obviously, Gronowski's not practicing. So, what is your goal for the quarterbacks that are here now? So you obviously have a much more fully stocked quarterbacks room.
Yep.
Is Gronowski like you feel like in your mind that's your one, and now you're seeing his two? What are you trying to do this spring with those other guys?
I think the way I'd phrase it, we feel like we know the most, ironically, about Mark, even though he's not practicing. If that makes sense. But it's a contradiction in terms, I guess. But he's played the most, and he's got that production. So that's a starting point. And then the guys in the room we're really excited about, but none of them played 20 games or 30 games. So this is a really good opportunity for them. Obviously, Brandon's a hell of a lot more comfortable now with what we're doing than he was a year ago. He got here in June. To me, it's amazing what he did pick up in a short amount of time. The same thing with Hank. And you got Jimmy there, and then Jackson's back too. So we're just gonna let those guys practice and play and all that kind of stuff. And then whenever Mark's able to join us back, and really, we're not gonna be evaluating or competing until August, then we'll go through that and just see what happens. But overall, the whole room is, pardon the pun, it's a lot healthier, and I just think we've got a better situation than we've had. And ironically, Spencer has been back in the building. He had another procedure done, but anyway, he's been around here for a while. And, whenever he got tackled, that shoulder blew up a couple of Novembers ago. It's been a rough go since then, So, it's just the way it goes sometimes. You do the best with what's in front of you, but I'm optimistic that all of us are. We got a little better potential right now as we move forward right now. I'm looking forward to seeing where it all goes.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, appreciate the time. It seems like whenever fall camp rolls around or spring training comes around, you kind of light up when you talk about the team and just the pure football aspect of it, other than social media, other than the game weeks and preparation. What is it about spring practice that you enjoy the most? Is it the purity? Is it just kind of focusing on yourself? So I'm just kind of curious what your insight is.
Yeah, the two most favorite times of the year for me, outside of being with my wife, Mary, okay, just, we're out on a date, and we went on a date last week too, that's a pretty big deal. Like went to, had dinner, it was a really nice night. But outside of that, okay, what I enjoy is being with our players, like that's fun in coaching. And spring allows you that, especially the non-game planning part, which is a challenge in itself, and that's fun as well. But just, to be with the players and watch them practice, develop, see what they can do to get better, all those kinds of things. And, the challenge is how well can we teach as a staff and as coaches. So that's a fun time. And then I love August too, the same way. In August, you pretty much you're blocked from the outside world. So this is a little bit of a mix because we're still recruiting, and I got nothing against recruiting, but it just kind of takes some time away from the team. But these are pure football periods, so that's the fun part about it. And no jobs are perfect, but those two periods are really enjoyable because it's pure football. And again, you're not trying to game plan. You're not fighting the time clock necessarily.
Owen C. from KJN.